Greetings, everyone. Hey, how you doing? It's Matt Sella. Today, we're doing a spoiler talk review for The Owl House, Season 2, Episode 9, dubbed Eclipse Lake. Very simple title. Joined with me, as always, is my good friend Marc via satellite radio, calling in all the way from the center of entertainment. It's Marcello Land. How you doing out there, Marc?
I am so happy to be here, so happy to talk Owl House and all the fun things it entails.
And I bet there's a lot to take away from this episode. But before we get into that, folks, if you could be so kindly to check out not only this review, but a few others on the channel as well. Marc and I, along with other friends of mine, we like to talk about animation, whether it be in movies, TV shows. And if you enjoy content like this, please subscribe, like this video, and if you want to check me out doing some animation, usually on the weekends, follow me on Twitch and follow me on Twitter. Well, without further ado, Marc, won't you let the fine folks know what is this episode Eclipse Lake all about?
Well, Matt, I'm glad you asked. Fearing he may be replaced, Hunter decides to go looking for Titan's blood before Kikimora does. Meanwhile, Luz has caught the common mold, and her friends are all there to take care of her. And, to top it all off, the Echo Mouse reveals that Titan blood exists at Eclipse Lake. Ida and King go with Amity, tagging along, wanting to prove she's a good girlfriend, while Willow and Gus stay behind to tend to Luz. And, best of all, we find out Hunter, for those of you who are worried, I know I kind of was too, is still very much an antagonist, even though he does have his redeeming character moments. Fights ensues, conflicts engage, the key to the door is shattered, and so much more. And we even get to see the face of the Emperor himself. All that and more in Eclipse, Episode 9 of Season 2. And, Matt, if you don't mind, I think I'll start off first with some of my things I appreciated about this episode.
Yeah, let the folks know what were some of your takeaways.
Well, for starters, we see the Emperor's face. And weirdly enough, we see it very early in the episode. I was really actually surprised if we were going to see it, that we saw it as early as we did. We were aware through some previous stuff and scenes that the Emperor does have long hair, and he does, and he definitely kind of just looks like an older Hunter, but with a weird green scarish thing going down his face. And really, I'm not sure if it's better or worse or even more horrifying, but without his mask, he certainly seems less threatening, but that almost makes it even more horrifying, I'm sure, if you think about it. And like I said earlier, I was very happy to see that Hunter is still playing a very antagonistic role in the story when push comes to shove. I was worried that if they were going to kind of do a redemption arc or a 180 on his character, that, especially with how little screen time he's technically has, that we would kind of rushed it a little bit, although Owl House is known for really its brisk pace, so I wouldn't have been totally surprised, but I'm happy to see he still is somewhat antagonistic. There's some fun stuff with Ida and her harpy mode that I really liked. I think that, Matt, I believe you described early in our conversation that Ida having to talk to the owl beast reminded you very much of sort of the Naruto thing with that fox.
Correct. Where in some cases, if I interject on your point here, Marc, is I like how this show was making a direct reference to Dragon Ball Z, where it's like, oh, if a character just shouts loud enough, they'll go into their awakening form, which is actually hilarious because we played Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which kind of retells the Dragon Ball Z arc. And for the most part, usually with these things, it's more of an emotional state. It's not just about shouting. It's about getting angry, about realizing why you need this power. So when I watched that scene and she described it, I was like, okay, she's going to come to terms with her emotional state. And once she has that drive in her heart, that's when she'll awaken the power. But it's like you said, Marc, in this episode, instead of that, it's more like, have you even thought of just talking to the beast? And I didn't really think of that right away, but I like they went in that direction because I believe at one point Naruto in his series did that with Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, just to say, hey, instead of like relying on this anger, can you just work together with me? Lend me some of your power. And after that, it's like, wow, I feel more in control. I have even more power. So I like that direction with Ida and the harpy beast mode.
Yeah, and she gets to eat rodents.
Evidently.
But yeah, other than that, also, Hunter finally embraces his little palisman cardinal pal. And yeah, overall, this was actually a really good episode for me. I personally enjoyed it quite a bit. Happy to see Amity taking a much more proactive role in the story again after kind of being a bit on the sideline in Season 2. And what did you think of the episode, Matt?
I think I echo your statements a lot. I'm really happy we had a more center focus on Amity. She's been kind of in the background for most of the episodes so far in season 2. And I like that we got to explore her resolve and how much she wants to establish herself as a good girlfriend to Luce. So I have no real complaints there. One thing I definitely want to talk about here, and I think most people are already talking about it, especially on Twitter, because Friday night, when I was prepping up to go to bed, everyone would not shut up about the Owl House spoilers. Had to avert my eyes. But everyone seems to be really digging that fight between Amity and Hunter near the end.
It got pretty intense.
It did, and I think what really helped it was the uptick in animation as well as the music in the background. It really made it felt like an epic fight. I liked how they utilized the abilities between both the witchlings, and especially the thing that I liked the most was Hunter utilizing his talisman to kind of create an innate teleport dash ability, and I'm a big fan of that in video games especially, and I actually really like the animation and sound direction they did for Hunter's dash teleport, which made it feel more unique and personal to Hunter. So I really like that. And it was kind of cool to see like some of the various situations in which you could use a golem spell to help you fight in witchling combat. So that was definitely one of the biggest highlights for me from this episode. As far as negatives go, I think Marc, you already covered that pretty much when it came to Emperor Bellows. When I first saw him unmasked, I didn't expect that to happen so soon. Yes, we kind of knew he had grayish hair, similar to Hunter, just longer. But when we saw his face and some of his personality seep through when he was talking to Hunter, I got major Howl vibes from him, as well as that one bad guy from Final Fantasy 15, or just Final Fantasy in general. He had that presence about him, and I didn't really find that very threatening. It felt a little more goofy to me, but I think you're absolutely right from what you said before, Marc. Perhaps that's just for us to lower our guard, so later on, when he actually does stuff, we'll be like, oh my god, you're a horrible piece of poo. So we'll see. We'll see.
And with that then, Matt, why don't you take us home?
Yes, sir. Well, folks, you heard our thoughts, but now we want to hear yours. Let us know in the comment section below, what did you think of this episode of The Owl House Season 2, Episode 9, Eclipse Lake? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Share your thoughts. Join the conversation. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when new videos drop. And if you want to support me directly, consider going to my Patreon. Follow me on Twitter. And if you want to watch me do some animation, usually over the weekends, check me out on Twitch. Links are in the description below. This is Matt Sella.
This is Marc, and Amity is a really good girlfriend.
Of course, thanking you all for tuning in.